Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. Senator Ndume urges federal government to extend its joint military operations against terrorist hideouts to Northeast region. Port Harcourt refinery supplies diesel while shut down. A Nigerian Correctional Service Federal Capital Territory expands inmate empowerment with skills education. A very good day to you and welcome to First News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Now the news in full. The senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, has called on the federal government to extend its joint military operations with the United States against terrorist hideouts to the northeast region of the country. Ndume made the appeal in a statement in which he commended the recent military airstrikes on the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, cells in the Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State. Senator Ndume said extending the joint military action to the northeast would significantly weaken the Islamic State West African province, ISWAP, and Boko Haram insurgents operating in the region. The United States President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. military carried out airstrikes on terrorist targets in northwest Nigeria, which was later confirmed by Nigerian's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Maitama-Tuga, who said the operation was conducted with Nigerians' full cooperation, approval, and intelligence support. Tuga stressed that the strikes did not violate Nigerian sovereignty and were not directed at any religious group. We now move on to another story. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, has condemned the bomb explosion in Zamfara State that claimed the lives of 7 people. The incident occurred when suspected terrorists planted an improvised explosive device along the Magami-Dansadwa Highway in Maru, local government area of the state. The device exploded as a commercial bus conveying passengers drove over it, killing 7 people instantly. A statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Musa Krishi, the speaker described the attack as cowardly and unfortunate, stressing that it is unfortunate the attack was carried out shortly after the Nigerian and the American governments launched a joint operation against terrorism in the country, with strikes on terrorist hideouts in parts of the Northwest. Abbas said the federal government has introduced new strategic security measures to check criminal activities, stressing that terrorism, banditry, and other crimes against the state would continue to be resisted. The Speaker also pledged the readiness of the National Assembly to provide necessary legislative and budgetary support to confront the nation's security challenges. Moving on, the parliamentary staff of the Platform of Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASSAN, National Assembly chapter has raised serious concerns over alleged violation of the federal character principle in the appointment of secretaries within the National Assembly. In the later address to the chairman of the National Assembly Service Commission, PASSAN warned that continued disregard for constitutional provisions could fuel discontent and industrial unrest. PASSAN, chaired by Sabiu Sandi, drew attention to Section 14 of 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and the Federal Character Commission Act Cap F7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria in 2024, both of which mandate equitable representation of Nigerians federating units in public service appointments. The association stressed that strict compliance with the federal character principle remains critical to promoting fairness, inclusiveness, and national cohesion, particularly within sensitive institutions such as the National Assembly. According to PASSAN, failure to uphold the principle encourages perceptions of bias and marginalization with negative implications for staff morale and industrial harmony. Moving on, the Nigerian Correctional Service Federal Capital Territory Command has recorded progress in inmate empowerment and rehabilitation through expanded skill acquisition and educational programs across its custodial centers. A statement by the spokesperson for the command, Adamu Duza, NCOS, said the initiatives are aimed to promoting rehabilitation, easing reintegration into society, and reducing recidivism amongst discharged inmates. According to the statement, since assuming office, the Controller of Corrections FCT Command, Christopher Jen, has prioritized enhancing inmate training through partnerships with various organizations. The command noted that donations of training materials from non-governmental organizations have helped widen access to vocational and educational opportunities within custodial facilities. According to the statement, inmates are currently being trained in a wide range of vocational skills. The command also highlighted progress in formal education, noting that inmates are actively pursuing recognized academic qualifications. Moving on to another story, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says that the 600 billion naira left in the Rivers State coffers after the lifting of emergency rule in the state is attracting political interest. Wike, who stated this when he met with members of the Rivers State House of Assembly at their legislative quarters along Aba Road in Port Harcourt, made a veiled reference to some prominent politicians who recently visited the state and met with his successor. The minister said during their visit, the politician showered praises on the governor, who recently dumped the People's Democratic Party for the All Progressive Congress, noting that all they were after was a 600 billion naira in the state coffers. He explained that those who disclosed the existence of such funds made a mistake, as it had now triggered a scramble to access the money, adding that an easy way to get money from River State government was simply to abuse him and then smile home thereafter. Still in Rivers State, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority says in the latest data posted on its website that the Port Harcourt Refining Company, which is currently shut down, is still supplying 349,000 liters of automotive gas oil, otherwise known as diesel, daily. According to the authority, the refinery which the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited shut down on May 24, 2025, was still having diesel evacuated into the market daily as of November, while stressing that there are no production activities at the refinery due to its current shutdown mode. The regulatory agency disclosed that the diesel produced before it was shut down was still being evacuated as of November. The Port Harcourt refinery was declared operational by the former Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC, Mele Kyari, in November 2024 after years of inactivity. The former NNPC boss also said the 60,000 capacity refinery had resumed full operations, adding that the newly rehabilitated complex of the old Port Harcourt refinery, which had been revamped and upgraded with modern equipment, was operating at a refining capacity of 70% of its installed capacity. The company added that diesel and poor fuel oil would be highest outputs from the refinery with a daily capacity of 1.5 million liters and 2.1 million liters, respectively. Moving on to Adamawa State Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri has cautioned newly trained forest guards against using their training to intimidate or harass law-abiding members of the public, urging them instead to relate respectively with their host communities. Governor Fintiri gave the charge at the graduation ceremony of 987 forest guards held at the General Murtala Mohammed College, GMMC, Yola, where he was represented by his deputy Professor Kale Tapwa George Faratu. The governor advised the graduates to see themselves as privileged citizens entrusted with the responsibility of serving their communities and the nation, stressing the need for professionalism, discipline, and adherence to the rule of law in the discharge of their duties. Moving on to another story. Meanwhile, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has dismissed claims by former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose that he received 50 billion naira support from President Bola Tinubu following the January 2024 explosion in Ibadan. Addressing newsmen, the special advisor of media to Governor Makinde, Dr. Suleiman Olarenwajo, described the allegation as baseless and challenged Fayose to provide evidence to support it. He said Fayose's claim lacked credibility. The former governor claimed that although the money was not paid directly into Oyo State's bank account, it was linked to Makinde's visit to Tinubu after the incident. However, responding to Fayose's claims, Makinde's spokesman denied that the presidency made any such monetary donation to Oyo State government. We now move on to the foreign scene. China is holding military drills around Taiwan, simulating the seizure and blockade of the island's key areas as a warning against separatist forces. The Chinese military says the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force have been dispatched for the drills, which include live-fire exercises. Codenamed Justice Mission 2025, the drills are taking place days after the U.S. announced the sale of one of its largest weapons packages to Taiwan worth $11 billion, which moved through sharp protests from Beijing, which is torn sanctioned U.S. defense firms. Taiwan's push to ramp up its defense this year has also angered Beijing, which claims the self-ruled island as its territory. Taiwan's presidential office has criticized the upcoming Chinese drills, calling them a challenge to international norms. Taiwan's defense ministry says that they detected Chinese aircraft and ships around Taiwan and have deployed their own forces and missile systems to monitor the situation. And now on to sports. The 2025 African Cup of Nations AFCON 2025 is still going on strong as the 24 participating teams continue to battle for supremacy on the continent. The Super Eagles Group C has provided excitement for many fans as 4 games have already gone down. The second round of games in Group C were played on Friday, and the first game was between Uganda and Tanzania, which ended in a 1-1 draw to ensure that both teams' hopes of qualifying for the round of 16 remaining intact. The second game of the group, however, was what got Africa and indeed the world cheering. It was a game between Nigeria and Tunisia. After dominating and going up 3 goals, the Super Eagles nearly lost their lead, but eventually they survived and saw out a 3-2 win. That's all on the news this hour. I am Becky Osoro. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.